Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the concepts from Module 4.2 on database management. But look, we aren't just going to talk about boring data storage here. I want you to picture your database as a highly secure digital fortress. Seriously, when we manage data, we're basically acting as the architects and commanders of that fortress. The information locked inside, its value completely changes depending on who wants it, how old it is, and what they actually plan to use it for. So, managing and protecting this whole operation is absolutely critical. But before we start building these massive digital walls and deploying all our security measures, we really have to acknowledge a fundamental truth of computing. GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. This is literally the central thesis of our entire system. Because, no matter how incredibly advanced our databases are or how impenetrable we think our fortress is, if poor, invalid, or straight-up false data gets in, the whole database becomes totally useless. A fortress full of garbage is, well, it's just a really expensive garbage dump. So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the gates, validation and verification. Second, securing the database fortress itself. Third, we'll get into data warehousing. Fourth, using data as a hacking tool. And finally, fifth, we'll meet the database management team. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, the gates, validation and verification. Let's start right at the perimeter. This is our absolute first line of defense, where we figure out how to ensure only the right high-quality data actually makes it past our walls. Now, we have two concepts here that get constantly confused: validation and verification. Validation is essentially your software acting as an automatic bouncer. It checks data against a strict set of rules. For example, making sure an input is a whole number or a string of no more than 10 letters, or maybe just an M or F for gender. Verification, on the other hand, is a totally different beast. Computers can't truly verify the truth. Like, if you enter an incredibly unlikely but technically valid birth date, the computer's going to accept it. Verification requires an actual human to step in and check for real truth and accuracy. Think of accountants using a double-entry system to manually verify that transactions match up. It's costly, it's super time-consuming, so we really only deploy verification when absolute accuracy is, essential. Moving on to Section 2, securing the database fortress. Okay, so the data makes it past the gates. Awesome. But the job isn't over. You have to maintain its safety and reliability once it's inside the vault. The absolute crucial point here is data integrity. This means the overall completeness, accuracy, and consistency of the data in your database. And here's why this matters to you. If you're building an app or running a business, you only achieve true data integrity by implementing strong principles of normalization right from the start, and by hardwiring those validation rules we just talked about directly into your database design. If your data lacks integrity, you don't have a reliable fortress. You have a house of cards. And actually, this brilliantly illustrates what happens when the rules of your fortress suddenly change. If you update a validation rule in a live running database, you're probably going to get hit with a panic-inducing pop-up warning from your software. It's basically the system yelling, "Hey, you just changed the security protocols. Do you want me to go back and reevaluate all the existing data with these new rules?" It's a massive undertaking, but it is 100% necessary to ensure that older data still maintains its integrity under your new regime. But listen, integrity doesn't mean much if anyone can just stroll right in. So access control operates on two main fronts. First, we have the digital locks, your software settings. This means enforcing really good password policies, managing user rights, and ensuring those privileges are kept strictly up to date. Second, we have physical security. You literally need to physically secure the devices and the servers using key controls, access registers, maybe even biometric scanners. Because at the end of the day, a $10,000 digital firewall isn't going to stop someone who can just physically pick up the server and walk out the front door, right? Now, what if someone on the inside makes a mistake? Or worse, what if they go rogue? This is where the audit trail comes in. Think of it as the security cameras inside your fortress. It requires a whole extra set of tables just to store actions, like inserting, deleting, or editing data, along with the exact time, date, and user ID of whoever did it. In really extreme cases, it even logs the old and new versions of the data. Now, to be fair, keeping this trail does slow down the overall performance of the database, but if the data is highly sensitive, like financial transactions, it is absolutely non-negotiable. And because no fortress is totally immune to natural disasters or, catastrophic hardware failure, we use parallel data sets. We also call this mirroring. This is the ultimate backup plan. You keep multiple live copies of your data. Yes, it absolutely doubles your storage requirements at a minimum, but the payoff is massive. If your primary system crashes, the parallel set kicks in immediately. The result? Zero system downtime. And for maximum security, you obviously want to keep these mirrors in entirely separate physical locations. Let's shift gears for a second and look at a practical problem of success. Data collects fast. Think about a major bank with hundreds of thousands of customers doing multiple transactions every single day. In just 1 month, that's millions of records. Fast forward a few months, and the database is gigantic and incredibly slow. So what exactly does the bank do with all these outdated 3-month-old transactions? Section 3, Data Warehousing Explained. Well, just deleting those millions of records would be completely disastrous. In standard backups, they aren't very productive either. That brings us to the modern solution, data warehousing. This process takes those millions of old records, extracts them from the current operational database, modifies them into a new format, and stores them in a completely different type of database. This new database is heavily optimized for mining, basically extracting valuable long-term trends and information from huge collections of data. So this lets the bank safely delete the old records from the main operational database, speeding it right back up, while still actually gaining new, real value from the archived data. Pretty smart, right? Section 4, Data as a Hacking Tool. Now let's move to something a bit more urgent. What happens when the data itself is weaponized? If a hacker knows how your system works, they can actually feed it unexpected data to cause a crash, or bypass your security entirely. The most infamous and definitely the most dangerous example of this is the SQL injection attack. Here's the exact anatomy of how this goes down. Step 1. Instead of typing a normal customer ID, like JQ351, a hacker types in a clever string of characters, something like quote or, quote 1, quote equals, quote 1. Step 2. The poorly designed program blindly joins this weird input with its fixed SQL code. Step 3. This creates a statement asking the database to find the ID of nothing or where 1 equals 1. Well, because 1 always equals 1, the statement evaluates as true for every single record in that table. Step 4, the fortress doors swing wide open. The database drops all its defenses and spills all its secure info. Every single invoice, credit card, or user password in the system. Crazy enough, this trick even works on website login pages. So how on earth do we stop it? We go right back to our very first concept. Validation. Defeating SQL injection is heavily reliant on having really good validation structures in place. You limit the field lengths so hackers literally can't type long, complicated commands. You strictly type the data, meaning if the system asks for a number, it rejects all letters. And crucially, you check for legal characters. If a customer ID is only supposed to be uppercase letters and numbers, any input containing an equal sign or quote marks is immediately flagged as invalid and thrown out. The gates hold fast. Section 5. The Database Management Team. But who actually designs these gates? Who sets all these rules? Well, at the very top of our human commanders, we have the Database Administrator, or the DBA. In a large-scale business, this is a serious senior management position. The DBA is responsible for the overall architecture. They design the tables and relationships, they establish the security protocols and user rights, they create the backup and restoration policies, and they're constantly monitoring performance things like memory usage and transaction times. Basically, they ensure consistency across the entire company. Now, working alongside the DBA are the programmers. While the DBA builds the fortress, the programmers build the actual tools and software that let employees and customers interact with it. But here's the critical key. They have to work entirely within the exact rules and structural limitations set by the DBA. If every programmer could just bypass validation rules to make their own lives a little easier, and trust me, they definitely want to, the result would be total chaos, a complete breakdown of security. So in this fortress, the DBA is the law. And I think that brilliantly illustrates the ongoing challenge of database management. We have strict validation, deep security, detailed audit trails, and a highly skilled team in place. But I want to leave you with this final thought. With data constantly growing and hackers endlessly discovering new creative ways to exploit system inputs and software bugs, is your digital fortress ever truly finished? Or is database management just simply an endless, high-stakes arms race? Definitely something to think about as you start designing your own systems. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep defending that data.